An incredibly entertaining fall finals just ended. We had some insane overtime deciders, incredible upsets, and even blood sacrifices. I mean, holy dude. Here are some key takeaways from each team in attendance.
Don't change your mouse before the armor.
Falcons last place, let's be honest, who's surprised, guys? I don't really think anyone cares about this Falcons roster, to be honest. But what people do care about is this. Ladies and gentlemen, our GOAT is back. Now, there's a lot to break down here. It's a 3-month loan. He's replacing Sun Pius, who was easily their best player. Plus, we don't know how good Simple's going to be when he comes back. But listen, guys. This Falcons roster has been so boring to watch. They are so uninspired. They aren't doing anything. They have no fans. It's literally a snooze fest every time I have to watch them. And even though they just replaced their best player, I love this move. Because whether Simple is good or not on this team, it's going to be entertaining. There is actually a reason to watch this team again. We know changes are coming with the Nico move, and now we get this even earlier. This move is like when you wake up Monday morning and find out you have a snow day. You were gonna thug it out until the weekend, but you get a nice little surprise at the start of the week. I was gonna have to thug out watching Falcons till Nico joined, but now we have this. We knew changes were coming in the future, but this came early, and it's hype. Now, I don't think this move is necessarily very surprising. I mean, we all knew there was one team that could get Simple. I mean, his buyout was rumored to be as much as the GDP of Liberia, and only Falcons got money bags like that. The surprising part is how early this happened. I mean, I don't think anyone expected him to be playing at the Shanghai Major. Anyways, very exciting move. I thought Simple was reaching Unk status. He's only 26, only 1 year older than Sun Pius, Ema, and JL. But these are his stats from his one official match in CS2. Not super fair because he was standing in and he was not opping, so we'll see how he does.
Both Stabby and Yawn. Stabby.
Hey, we're all
I knew what I was gonna say.
We're all
There is so much to talk about here. We'll start with Bro, another young and talented Danish player sent to the pit by Astralis. The pit of ruined careers and scapegoated players, and I worry for Stare if this Cadian move does not work out for them. And at this point, the pit is damn near overflowing, so at least he'd have a soft landing. Then there's the Cadian emergency sub situation, which literally caused an IGL protest at the event and community outrage, which is reasonable. Then Blast came out and said we have no reason to question Astralis' statement after Bro's agent literally tweeted that he is fine. And while this is all going on, he also is trying out for Ents, a complete clown show, man. And all of this to win 4 rounds in 2 maps. Incredible stuff, gentlemen. Now, if we want to actually talk about Astralis, the Counter-Strike team, we can only look at their match against Spirit, in which, in their defense, they didn't look atrocious. Was reverse blowouts in map 1 and 2, and against a very shaky looking Spirit, they lost 11-13. Stare was playing out of his damn mind. Even with the addition of Cadian, Stown still looked very mediocre. Cadian individually actually looked pretty good. The one thing I will say is their CT side of Mirage looked kind of awkward, with Device and Cadian both double opping. I don't mind a double op every once in a while, but when you're playing against some of the best teams in the world, I just hate it, to be honest. All of these teams have very good executes, and they're gonna be getting on site more often than not, and retaking with a double op is just miserable. And they were double opping nearly the entire CT side. Plus, I've been hearing the dynamic between Cadian and Device might be a little weird. Very different personalities. From what I've heard, Device thinks it's very annoying to play with loud and obnoxious players. Cadian might be the loudest and most obnoxious player in professional play, which I love, okay? I think Cadian's a great IGL. I think he's a good player. And I think players like him make the game more entertaining to watch. So I don't mind it. We'll have to see how much Device minds it. Just something to keep your eye on in the long term. Plus, Device was the lowest rated player on Astralis this event. As an opper, you cannot be at the bottom, man. So who knows, maybe this is already tilting him. But from what I saw in the series against Spirit, it looks like this team is going to have a way higher ceiling with Cadian calling. Unfortunately for everyone, Astralis may be halfway decent now. Or they could implode again like all of their other rosters.
how to play this game, fucking shit.
I mean, let's be honest. As soon as we saw Donk looking human this event, I don't think this result is very surprising. Now, in Spirit's defense, both of these last tournaments, they got knocked out by the tournament winner. So it's not like they're just getting dicked on by bad teams, but they have been looking very shaky. And the formula for them to win tournaments was not there this event. They have it down to a fine science. It's Donk dropping a 1.5 rating. He's heavily supported by Shiro with a 1.3, and then Zontix also supports them with like a 1.16. Zontix did his part, Donk and Shiro did not. So the result is a quarterfinal exit. Now, I'm not super worried about them. This is just the team that they are. They can beat anyone in the world, and they can also lose to anyone. Also, dude, these Zontix interviews. At EPL, he said, "It's easier for us to play against better teams because we're used to outthinking people." This outthinking included Chopper telling Donk to go in and double entry. The result was an 0-2 loss to Navi. This was also the same interview where he said Navi is objectively an easy opponent for them. I mean, Jesus, man. Now, after they were knocked out at the Blastfall finals, he said, "We have mental models that are not compatible with championship winners." Fuck do you mean, bruh? You're one of the best teams in the world. Get locked in. He's saying they don't have good communication, saying the players don't feel confident. Then this ends by him saying, "It's about how players perceive the team, what they need in order to win, and I think sometimes people forget what they have to do, what they have to say or not to say in order to win, what they feel about playing, and how they feel about their teammates." This is incredibly concerning stuff, man. I don't know if he's making it sound way worse than it actually is, but if this is all true, Chopper or Hallie has to get on top of this, and they have to get their heads straight. I wasn't super concerned about Spirit, but after his interviews, I kind of am now. Luckily for them, they literally cloned Donk and put him on their academy team, so if things go too bad, you've Chopper flash Donk into A and Magix flash Kiyosuke into B, what the fuck are you gonna do? Fire your name, by the way. But yeah, the next event Spirit actually plays is the Major, so they've got a while to fix their mental issues, and hopefully they do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to look back. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We sucked.
The only question I have with Liquid, is this their ceiling or do they get better? I think this roster has a lot of potential, but I mean, Faze blew their backs out, spine shattered, wheelchair bound, and a part of the reason for that, Liquid's T-side has kind of been atrocious. I mean, when they lost that 11-1 lead against Faze, it was because they switched to T-side and could only win one round. And once again, at this tournament, that issue was still not fixed. In this series against Faze, they won 3 T rounds. 3. Between both maps. Their series before that against Vitality, they went up 9-3 on Nuke. They won 2 T rounds and lost 13-11. I get it, Nuke is CT-sided, but come on, man. 2 T rounds is abysmal. And I think this comes down to 2 things. He can always improve, it's very early, but twist calling on T-side has been pretty bad. And it doesn't help that their entry of Yakinder has been very mediocre. They couldn't replace him before Shanghai, otherwise they wouldn't have their core. But I could see them replacing him after. It makes me a little sad Malbs went to G2 because Malbs on Liquid would be, oh my god. I'm kicking my feet, jerking my shit just thinking about it. I was looking at a couple rosters in Europe. There weren't any entries that I love to replace him. If they want to stay North American, Hext has been playing very well lately. He was pretty mediocre on EG, but his time on EG does not count, man. Let's be real. Just an idea. I'm not sure if it would work or not. I can't imagine he plays any worse than Yakinder, though. This was also Ultimate's first bad tournament since joining Liquid. I'm not looking too deep into that. He's obviously an incredible player. This was also a NAF hero tournament. He was trying to solo carry Liquid to the finals. Love me some NAF, man. That 1v3 on Nuke against Spirit was... Anyways, we'll have to see if Liquid improves moving further. I'm not hopping off the Twist IGL train just yet. And I guess another option could be kick Yakinder and sign another IGL. But it's not like Liquid are a bad team by any means. It just doesn't look like they'll be winning any tournaments in their current form. Which for an org like Liquid is obviously their goal.
He hits himself the no-scope, and that bomb's out in the open. Wonderful tap!
Faze saw the thumbnail of my last video, and it turned Brokey into Prime Simple. Buddy was so back this tournament. And to be honest, Faze probably could have beaten Navi if Kerrigan did not whiff. Incredible clutch from Wonderful, though, nonetheless. We don't know if they would have won going into that overtime, but they won the last 2 rounds. They had momentum. But then again, you never know how those overtimes are going to go, so they could have still lost. The point is, Faze looked very good. I know there were a lot of people overreacting, saying they needed to make a roster move, which I don't really know where Kerrigan's head is at. He'd be a phenomenal coach if he decided to stop playing, or he could play for another 2-3 years. We have no idea. Kind of a similar situation with Rain. I mean, Rain has been there since the start, man. I feel like it wouldn't be Faze anymore if he was kicked. And I don't think he will be kicked. I think if he leaves, it'll be on his own terms. To me, he kind of feels like the glue on this team. I keep seeing rumors of Sui joining after Kerrigan leaves, which, to be fair, would be a perfect replacement. He's already playing on Faze Academy. If this happens, Faze would still be an incredible top-tier team. Going back to the fall finals, though, along with Brokey, Rops was also looking very good. He's been playing much better the past few tournaments. I'm almost certain he sold his Porsche and is now driving a Kia. Great for him, man. Now that he's got better gas mileage, he's got better performance. Frozen has been like the one consistent piece on this team. He was still playing very well this tournament. But yeah, overall, they just looked reinvigorated, which is great to see because a good Faze can beat anyone in the world. I really want to dig deep into Vitality here. I mean, I really do think they are the strangest team in Counter-Strike. I feel like they should be the best team in the world, and when I watch them play, I go, who can beat them? And then they just simply lose. They've won one tournament this year that's less than G2, Navi, Spirit, and they are tied with FaZe and the Mongols. Listen, I know the Mongols tournament win wasn't a real tier 1 tournament, but Liquipedia ranks it as S tier, so I'm just telling you what I'm seeing. And like, I really don't know what goes wrong for them. ZywOo played phenomenally this tournament. He was the highest rated player. I mean, Flames was the second highest right below him, and Sphinx was the 5th. Like, they're a good team. They have a good roster. Mezzy could be better, but it's not like he's a bad player. But they just lose in heartbreaking fashion at G2 on a third map. They were up 12-9. ZywOo had 18 kills by half. Sphinx had a great third map. He ended with 26 kills. ZywOo had 27. Like, I just don't get it. What goes wrong for them? It's not like they just crumbled and got blown out. The same thing happened at EPL. They had an incredible third map against Eternal Fire. ZywOo played incredibly and they just barely lost. It's just like it isn't meant to be. Now, diving a little deeper into this, if we take a microscope to that third map against G2, they had a very poor T side, and that was with ZywOo dropping 18 kills, like I said. Is this an Apex issue? Now, if it is, this is an unfixable issue because he is by far their best option. You just can't replace him. And normally their T sides are great, but on Mirage, it was a 40%, and over time, they only won one T round. And for a team with individuals as good as Vitality, they only had a 14.3% win percentage after receiving the first death. For comparison, G2's was 34.1%. G2 also had a significantly better T side with 56% win rate. And of course, T sides aren't only determined by the IGL. I do think Apex is a better caller than Snax is, and Malbs is a demon on T side. But it's just some things to take note of because I don't know why Vitality lose. I know Sphinx gets called out as a choker, and I mean, to be fair, throughout this series, he was much worse than he was throughout the rest of the tournament. But like the map where it really mattered, map 3, he was there. So just walk with me for a little bit. In this heartbreaking loss, Apex had a 0.77 rating. He got 12 kills. And like I said earlier, their T side was 40% win rate. In the tournament they didn't choke in, IEM Cologne, they played arguably the best Mirage team in the world, Navi. Their T side win percentage was 47.6%. Still nothing phenomenal, but much better than 40. When Vitality lost that heartbreaking match to Eternal Fire, Apex 0.6 rating, 16 kills after 3 overtimes. Their T-side win percentage on this was 38.1%. And very similar to this G2 map, their round win percent after receiving first death was 14.3%. The Inferno before this, their T-side win percentage was 50, and their round win percent after receiving first death was 30%. Oh yeah, also over the past 3 months, Inferno is the second most T-sided map in the pool. This is the map where they had an abysmal T-side against Eternal Fire. In these important map 3s, it's just a little weird how Vitality's T-sides kind of fall off. And a lot of that does come down to how well the IGL's calling. And if you aren't calling well, aren't fragging well, I mean, ZywOo can only do so much for you. So I'm not trying to make a hit piece here. This is just what I noticed because I really want to know why Vitality is losing. I feel like they should be the best team in the world. Apex choker question mark?
We're doing a good streak. Win, loss, so 4-5 finals, grand finals, we lose.
This is probably going to be the quickest one on the list. This is the 5th final Navi's made in a row. I still think they are the best team in the world, but I don't think the gap is very big. And to be honest, I love this. All of the top teams being so close to each other makes it so exciting to watch tournaments. Like, this is the most fun I've had watching Counter-Strike in a very long time. Wonderful had a phenomenal tournament. He was the highest rated player on Navi. He had a 1.19, followed by Ema and JL, who both had 1.16s, and Bit had a 1.12. Even Alexi had a positive rating with a 1.01. One of the reasons Navi are so great and can be consistently very, very good is they don't have a star player. Literally anyone in that team can step up and be their best player on any given tournament, which takes a lot of pressure off the players to perform. Like, I can't imagine the pressure Donk feels knowing he has to drop 40 kills every single map, and Navi just simply don't have that issue. Now, I think they're the most fun to watch when Wonderful's their best player. When he's locked in, oh my god, is he fun to watch. It really is like watching a part of Simple come back, but I think they are at their best when JL is their best player. I mean, we just saw that at EPL, we saw it at the Major. I honestly can't believe how good of a player JL has become on this Navi team. I mean, he can rifle, he can deagle, he can clutch. The kills he gets are so impactful. Bit's a demon, Emo's back in form. The only worry I have with this team is they do seem to crumble in BO5s in front of crowds. They did just beat Eternal Fire in a BO5, but that was in a studio environment, and they did look a little more sloppy in that series, even though they did win. Now, I don't think this is too big of a deal, but stuff like this can get spoken into existence. When everyone is talking about how Alexi B is cursed and he can't win BO5s on stage, that can not only get to his head, but the entire team's head. But this is all just mental stuff. They'll be fine. As soon as they win that first BO5 on stage, this will not be an issue anymore.
It's m0NESY's chance to shine. And as he peeks, he strikes one down, bomb being planted.
I fucking love watching G2 win tournaments. Like, I am not a G2 fan. I guess more of just like a G2 enjoyer. Their players are all likable. They're an exciting team to watch. But why do they win the most scuffed ass tournaments imaginable? I mean, you've got the G-Stu run at Dallas. That was absurd. Now they have niko blood sacrifice to win this tournament. And forgive me, you can skip ahead if you want to. I'm about to do some S-tier riding. The pure cultural impact of this man, niko. One of the greatest riflers of all time. First off, he suns Donk this tournament. Look at this head-to-head. Not only does he beat him 2-0, he beats him in duels 13-4. The best young rifling prodigy we have, just stomped by niko. This is like when Tom Brady beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Your time is not yet, brother. Then he almost makes clutch of the year 1v5 against Vitality, and he whiffs. And Buddy punches a hole in his desk. Starts bleeding out of his hand, blood gets on his mouse, then takes this picture with the table on stage. And then his aura motivated m0NESY to carry him in the finals. I mean, just incredibly inspirational stuff. I pray Falcons does not kill your career. But I love how G2 just powers up into tournaments. At Dallas, they started off atrocious and got stomped by Vitality. They kept getting better and better throughout the tournament and beat them in the finals. Same thing with Navi this tournament. They played earlier and got 2-0'd. Then they come back in the BO5 finals. And to be honest, this wasn't even really that close. The one map Navi won was a 9-3 comeback where they won 13-11. I gotta talk about m0NESY too, man. The most impressive part of this entire run is that Vitality win with m0NESY not even playing that well. I mean, it's not like he was bad. He was just looking very human. He was the 3rd best player on G2 and he had a 1.13 rating. And then he comes into this finals and just cooks. And his work ethic is just insane. After the first map of this BO5, he went back on stage before everyone else to get warmed up. Apparently, an hour after the Vitality match, he went right back into the game and was practicing for the match against Navi. Insane stuff, man. And like I've been saying in the other videos, this race for top 3 players is not over yet. And m0NESY just significantly helped his case with this performance. Malbs also had a very good tournament. As a North American and M80 fan, I love Malbs, so I'm happy to see him win this trophy and play very well. And even Snacks looked more confident. I don't think G2's calls were necessarily that much better, but individually he looked a little better this tournament. While I don't think he is a phenomenal IGL, man, do I love seeing him succeed. He's just such a likable guy, and it honestly warmed my heart seeing him win this trophy after everyone hated on him. Me included, by the way. Literally in the last video I said, said, Snacks is an awful IGL. We'll just have to see how consistent G2 can be. I do think they rely a lot on their individuals to perform. This tournament they did and they won. This was takeaways for every team at Blast Fall Finals. This tournament was quite honestly cinema. I'm pumped to see IEM Rio after this and then the Shanghai Major. Subscribe to grow your penis by 3 to 7 centimeters and like if Snacks is a cutie patootie. I'll see you guys in the next one.